we'll pull back, start really start working on their legs, and as we start to shift towards focusing on Georgia. But right now, it's all about Clemson.
We talked at ACC Media Days about the targeting rules and the difficulty of teaching defensive guys how to hit properly without getting tossed. I mean, a week into pads, how's that process going?
You know, we hadn't really had any issues on our practice field, although we may have some that maybe the refs would differ with. You know, that's the unknown, is how is it going to be officiated? You know, how are they going to interpret certain things? And, you know, I had a long talk with those guys, with the crew that did our game on Saturday. And that was one of the real positives, and I think I mentioned that to y'all after the day, is we didn't really have a lot of penalties for a first scrimmage, and repping 3 groups on both sides. We didn't have a lot of penalties, and we didn't have any of the targeting stuff. And we try to do a good job of coaching all these guys the proper technique to tackle, whether it's a kicker, or an offensive lineman, or a defensive player. Everybody's got to know the proper technique to tackle with. But again, it's the unintended play that to me comes into question. You know, intentional, I think that's obvious. I think everybody sees that, and hopefully that'll be dealt with. But I think guys are more conscious of having the right technique, and the biggest thing is just not hitting people in the head. You know, you've got defensive players, and you knowing who those guys are. You know, so as long as you're just targeting below the head, and you're not hitting with the crown of your head, which is bad and dangerous for the person tackling, you should be okay. But again, there's just certain plays, bang bang plays where there's no intent to target, that are going to be interesting to see how they're interpreted on game day.
Isaiah mentioned that Jeff Davis has been coming in the third. What has Jeff done to help Isaiah's?
Jeff's a mentor to everybody. He's handles all of our player relation stuff. Anything that kind of touches our players, he's in the middle of it. But he just does a phenomenal job of mentoring our guys. I mean, he's a great representative of our program. He's done everything that's possible that you can do in this game as far as being in the College Football Hall of Fame. He's been a great NFL player. He's been a captain on the national championship team. He's raised 6 kids. So he's a wise man, and he pours that wisdom into our players on a daily basis. So he's a great mentor, great resource for our players and also our coaches. He does a great job, and has since the day. He was the very first person I hired when I got this job. I was an interim, and I went to Terry Don and said, "Listen, I need Jeff Davis." And he looked at me like, "What do you need Jeff Davis for?" And Jeff was like raising money or something. And I said, "Because these players need Jeff, and Jeff needs these players. Jeff needs to be part of what we're trying to do here." And I tell you, it's been a great 4.5 years working with Jeff. He's had a huge impact on our program, a huge impact. In every regard of our program, every area, he's had an impact.
All set.
Okay. Thanks, Dabo.